It's official. Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz, November 4th, Brooklyn Barclays Center. Press conference to announce the fight will be this Wednesday. And I know a lot of people are excited. Fantastic fight. This is your boy CJ Goodfellow. Let's get into it. Back with the boxing clinic, and this is the day everybody's been waiting for Deontay Wilder. They blamed him because Povetkin took steroids to try to spin it on him. He was over in England training, ready to go over to Russia and get it popping and prove himself. Now he has another opportunity to prove himself versus the guy everybody was on before Anthony Joshua emerged as a player in the heavyweight division. Seriously, everybody was talking about King Kong Ortiz. Oh, he'll destroy anybody. Right after that Irish Mike Perez phase faded out. Now, we already talked about this fight already, probably almost sold up, but now it's official. Wilder got to prove himself, man. But you know what they gonna do? They gonna spin it. Oh, Ortiz was old. Ortiz, had a hand injury. He had been out the ring for a year or so. Nobody was scared of Ortiz. His last few fights with Malik Scott and whoever else he fought, he was already exposed. They gonna try to take this away from Deontay Wilder. Is one of the reasons why I didn't mind if Deontay Wilder would have fought Bermane Stiverne and try to get on Anthony Joshua and Luis Ortiz undercard. Ortiz really should have pressed for the Anthony Joshua fight, but hopefully he goes through and sues the WBA through the Muhammad Ali Act and gets his $30-40 million because they playing with his career. He shouldn't have to go fight the second-rate heavyweight and not get the money that he deserves. He put himself in position to be to fight Anthony Joshua because he let him and Vladimir Klitschko fight for his belt. In return, they promised that they will fight him. And Joshua, Klitschko didn't want a rematch. He can't. Ortiz should have became before the rematch, but Klitschko pulled out. He retired. Puel said he didn't want to fight. They sweetened the pot, made him fight. He ain't going to be in shape. So, clearly here, Deontay Wilder is taking Anthony Joshua's responsibility. So many people hate Wilder for whatever reason it is. I'm not pro or con Wilder. I'm pro a good fight in the heavyweight division. And the fact of the matter is, Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder should be November 11th at the T-Mobile Arena, and they could have made Ortiz and Stiverne, even though Stiverne already ducked Ortiz, and he was supposed to fight Ortiz that had a right to fight Deontay Wilder. But Stiverne pulled out, and they still let him be the #1 mandatory. And there's a lot of shit people speaking on about this fight that they don't know. I followed the situation very carefully and got a lot of clarity on the whole situation. And at the end of the day, Anthony Joshua's a bitch, and I tell him to his face, I'm not scared of anybody, and I tell him why he's a bitch. He goes and fight Puev, and I understand that he sold off 70,000 tickets, and who am I to tell him that, to go fight Ortiz when you selling off 70,000 tickets no matter who you fight. But at the end of the day, it's a heavyweight division. It lost pride. It lost its zest a long time ago. And people try to act like the Klitschko and Joshua was the greatest fight of all time. Absolutely not. That was a regular heavyweight fight in the 90s and in the 80s and the 70s. That's probably not even regular. I've seen a lot more great heavyweight fights better than that one. But we haven't had one in so long. People was thirsty for a great one. But he should capitalize on that by fighting Deontay Wilder. That's who he really should be fighting. But at the end of the day, they protecting him. They know that he's not all the way there yet. And neither Deontay Wilder. I just don't understand why they just don't make the fight. And, he can go about his business and fight, Joseph Parker and sew up the division. He's trying to string it out. And in the heavyweight division, when you try to string it out, anything can happen. But I'm glad to have this fight with Wilder and Ortiz. The build-up probably won't be epic because Ortiz doesn't speak English. He's been wanting this for a long time, and a lot of people still gonna bag Ortiz. But at the end of the day, if Wilder wins, they're gonna renege from him, man. They're gonna renege from this performance, no matter how he looks, good, bad, in between. But if he wins, they're gonna take it away from him. They're gonna try to spin it where, he really didn't fight nobody. Ortiz was old. He got to prove himself. But at the end of the day, they gotta look at it. Anthony Joshua fought an old ass 41-year-old Vladimir Klitschko, a guy that had came off a loss. Ortiz is coming off a win. I don't think he ever lost. He a guy that's gonna pull the trigger. He a guy that got probably one of the best defenses in the heavyweight division, right up there with Huey Fury, in my opinion, the best upper body movement. But somehow they're going to spin it and take away from Deontay Wilder if he do win. I'm not 100% sure he is going to win. I slightly favor Luis Ortiz before I do any tape on the situation. You know, that's what I tell people. Before I watch the film, I tell you who I favor. But once I watch the film, it can change, just like with Golovkin and Canelo. But, you know, the press conference this Wednesday, tune in. I have an update. We gone.